Oh, let me got that God of War Saga review for you guys. Of course, it's just gonna go through God of War 1, 2, 3, Change Olympus, goes to Sparta, God of War 3. I didn't play Decisions yet. I know I'm slacking on my gaming, but here we go. So I write my stuff. So for God of War, I want to review God of War Change of Olympus first because I think that was probably the weakest one, and that's a good thing. Like if your weakest game is God of War Chamber Olympus, that's better than a lot of like other franchises. So I mean, and it was on PSP, so it wasn't as the production level was lower because it was on the weaker system. So God of War Chamber Olympus, I thought the gameplay, it was like the gameplay was good for a God of War game because God of War game is like the best action game out compared to like what you gonna compare it to like God. I mean, Devil May Cry. You compare it to Bayonetta. Those are all solid games. But got to work obviously on top of them. But I feel like for the PSP, and I can actually do Sparta. Come and do Sparta next. So Change Olympus was good for a PSP game, and it was the remake for the PS3 was good too. But Ghost of Sparta, I don't want to get too much of the story because I ain't trying to know the spoiler kind of do. But you gonna enjoy the gameplay. You gonna enjoy the combat. It's classic, got a word feel to it. The graphics you gonna enjoy on the PS3 and on the you just get on the PSP too. If you're just like, oh, gotta use PSP or from an old shop or a GameStop they still sell them. You gonna enjoy God of War Chains of Olympus. It's a real good game. Gameplay is gonna be there. You're gonna have the storyline that's interesting enough to keep you going. It's short, but it's gonna keep you going. And like I said, it's just classic God of War, but I thought the story was interesting enough to keep playing through the whole thing. The cutscenes were good for PSP. They was very good because you got to think about when the time this game came out, and I feel like the highlight of the game obviously was the gameplay. It's like it's fresh, so it's never like you can keep doing the same move, but the computer adjusts to you, especially like in the later God of War. So you can't. It's never gonna get boring because it challenges you. And then I had to get a game. Uh, How to get God of War Ghost of Sparta for the PSP and PS3. PSP I probably give it 9. For PS3 I probably give it like a 8.5. And for Ghost of Sparta, I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, Ghost of Sparta I don't feel like I think it's better than a couple of PS3 I mean PS2 ones. But it is hard, but because the length of the story was long for a PSP game. The scale of it was good. I feel like the cutscenes, the storyline, the boss fights were all there. Obviously, the graphics and stuff is lower than the PSP version. I mean PS2 version because it's on the PSP. The screen's small. When I played it, because I had this on PSP and on PS3, I played. I love the storyline. I love the cutscenes. The combat is upgraded because the magics are different. The storyline is longer. They added implemented some of the like the water gameplay. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much about the story because I don't know if you ever actually played it. And I'm not like one of them dudes that just go watch like gameplay videos and stuff like that. So I can get hyped up for the game. Like I just like to play it. So if you one of them gamers, I try to respect like if you just want to know about if the game is good without giving too much of the stuff that you want to find out. But you gonna find out good God of War. You gonna find out different weapons, obviously, and you just go. They change like the gameplay mechanics. Instead of you having like arrow, you have like a different weapon that do the same thing. And then you're gonna have the swimming is in there. The cutscenes are good for PSP, and then the boss fights you gonna love them. You gonna love like the animations of fighting certain people. And I mean, I mean, God of War Ghost of Sparta is very good for a PSP game, and I was surprised when I played it on when I played on PSP and I played on PS3. I was like, this is a classic. Like God of War Ghost of Sparta, the cutscenes, the gameplay, the aerial, the underwater, the storyline, God of War Ghost of Sparta, you gonna love it. You gonna love it, trust me. And then I'm about to go into God of War. I gotta speed this up because I'm trying to do them all. So I'll have to do like 1 through 5 later. God of War, the first one. It's a classic. But I mean, I like Ghost of Sparta better personally. But God of War is a classic. I can't lie about that. Ares, Pandora box, epic storyline to start off the series. The first game came in on a big high note, man. So you know what I'm saying. You come in, boom, 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 do the boss fight. Then you fight in Ares. Then you fight in the Pandora box. Then you get your combat is always refreshing because you get new moves. You add new implements into the game, like new spells that can do this for your opponent. This one can do this. So God of War set the standard for how the franchise is going to be. Obviously, I had to get a game like I give it about 9. I think I gave it a 9.50. 9.50. Cause I like because some games are like higher than a 9. So you can say a game like God of War is a 9, but it's not like a high 9, but it is a great game. And then that's how I like doing like the Game Informer kind of scale because a great game can be great, but how great is the game to a 10? Is it perfect, legendary perfect, or is it like borderline perfect? Is it 9.50 or is it 9.75? Just a couple glitches kept it from being 10. You know what I'm saying? God of War 2 is my second favorite. I know people picked God of War 1 or it's the second one, but this is my personal opinion. Besides about the game, but I feel like God of War 2 is like the storyline. I mean, the storyline probably ain't as magnificent, but the scale of it was risen to me. Just like the first fights, and then the beginning of the game just set the whole standard for how the game gonna be. And like they actually added more gameplay elements than they did on the first one. They kind of took the high arcing action to another level than they did on God of War the first one. Like fighting in the air and all that stuff was took to another level for God of War 2. And this is on the PS2, guys. Like they were doing a lot of this stuff on the PS2. You gonna enjoy the graphics, the game design, like the areas, going to different areas, the mechanics of it, the cutscenes are always there in God of War, the boss fights, gameplay. It's the best action game out here. God of War 2, you gonna love it. From everything, it's like near perfection because the gameplay, the cutscenes, the sound, the audio, voice writing this is God of War 2 just falls short to God of War 3. Now God of War 3, this is a classic. I've been played it, I've been beat it, but like this game is like one of them games that you can play. It may not be a 10, it may not be like on a Grand Theft Auto level, but the scale of God of War 3. Considering that I think it haven't even came out. I think it came out like in 2009 or 2000. It came out. The graphics are amazing. You're gonna really enjoy God of War 3 if you haven't played it or you played the demo. You play the demo, that's not even half. That's not even 1% of what you're gonna endure. Like when you turn on God of War 3, it's like God of War 2, you just turn it on and then you already know it's gonna be you in for a ride, you know what I'm saying? You can watch a movie and they just get you like boom boom shooting boom boom. You already know it's gonna be a high action movie. But it can disappoint. This game, you start off epic, cutscene, epic combat, the graphics, the falling, I don't want to give too much away, but the falling, it's just like a movie, playable movie with the graphics. Gameplay is amazing. The graphics, the physics, the voice right. This game is a 10, but I had to give it 9.75. I had a couple problems with them. Mine's glitched a lot. I don't know why. I don't know if it was patched later. And it was a couple like the mechanics sometimes, like the jumping. In the room, my controller, like the jumping wasn't there for me. So it was like a little unresponsive in the glitches. So it wasn't perfect. And I mean, God of War, you gonna love God of War 3 though. And like God of War 2 and 3, they upped it. And God of War 3, they just took it to a whole nother level with the graphics. Like you didn't play God of War 3, you had to play God of War 3 because the graphics, the story. I mean, from the beginning, it's hard to display because from the beginning, you just playing a beautiful cutscene, well written and everything. Come right into action, and then you just walking, boom. But I can't explain it. You got to play it. You had to play God of War 3. It's a classic. It's the best. They ended the series with a trilogy of the mainstream console, not the PSP ports or not the Decision like the pre, but the main story. They ended it start to finish. Playthrough. This game is one of them games. God of War 3 is one of them games. Combat, voice acting, graphics that you gonna play until you finish. This is not a game like you can play it, wait 2-3 days, play it, wait 2-3 days, play it, then you beat it in like a month. This is a game you gonna turn it on, get caught from the cutscene, get caught in the gameplay when everything else going on in the game can get spoiled too much for you, and then you gonna be like, what time? Jim, I'm calling in for work today. Or Mom, I can't go to school. My ankle hurt, or I got carpal tunnel on my wrist from playing the game so much. But you ain't gonna say the game part. You're gonna say I got carpal tunnel, Mom. I need to go see a doctor. Get the excuse. Quinn Wade. Peace.